When aliens picked a fight, humanity taught the rules. The Grand Council chamber buzzed with tension as alien leaders from across the galaxy convened to discuss the latest galactic disturbance, humanity. At the center of the room stood Admiral Kale Torin, his uniform crisp and his expression calm but unreadable. He was the first human ever allowed into the hallowed halls of the Galactic Union, but today, his presence was a stark reminder of the Union's greatest miscalculation. "Admiral Torin," rumbled Rythak of the Graal Dominion, his massive frame towering over the other delegates. "You stand here representing a species that has defied every treaty, ignored every warning, and dared to strike back against the Union's enforcers. Explain yourself." Torin clasped his hands behind his back, his voice steady and precise. "With respect, Rythak, humanity didn't start this conflict. We merely responded." The chamber erupted into murmurs and hisses of discontent. Delegates from every corner of the galaxy whispered amongst themselves, their confusion and disbelief palpable. Torin let the noise simmer before continuing. "When the Galactic Union declared Earth a protected resource, you assumed we'd accept servitude. You underestimated us." A sharp laugh broke the tension, belonging to Liva of the Athari Consortium. "Underestimated? You're an undeveloped species. What could you possibly teach us about war?" Torin's lips curled into a faint smile. "Everything." Years before, humanity had received the Galactic Union's decree. Earth, rich in resources and strategically located, was to be managed under the guise of protection. Union enforcers, vast, technologically superior fleets, descended on Earth, expecting submission. But they had not accounted for humanity's tenacity, nor its history of defying the odds. The declaration was met not with fear, but with resolve. Governments dissolved old rivalries overnight, pooling resources into a unified front. Scientists, engineers, and tacticians worked around the clock to reverse engineer the alien technologies left in the wake of the Union's advance. Humanity had no choice but to adapt, and quickly. "Let me make this clear," Torin said, pacing the chamber floor. "You came to Earth expecting compliance. What you received was ingenuity. You thought your fleets were invincible. You didn't expect us to hack into your navigation systems, redirecting your reinforcements into ambushes." The Athari delegate sneered. "Parlor tricks. Hardly a strategy." Torin's gaze sharpened. "And when we dismantled your orbital supply chains, was that a parlor trick too?" The murmurs in the chamber grew louder. Union fleets had reported bizarre, seemingly impossible disruptions during their operations. Ships had found themselves stranded without fuel, their coordinates altered with precision that suggested insider knowledge. "You forgot one crucial thing," Torin continued, his voice rising. "We may not have your technology, but we understand war. Every advancement in your arsenal became a challenge we couldn't afford to lose." Outside the chamber, a holographic display projected humanity's latest victory, an entire Union fleet retreating from Earth's orbit. Torin gestured to the display as his final words reverberated through the room. "When you picked this fight, you thought you'd teach humanity its place. Instead, we taught you the cost of underestimating us."
The Union delegates sat stunned as Torin's words echoed through the chamber. For centuries, the Galactic Union had maintained dominance, their technology and tactics unmatched. No civilization had dared defy their control. Until now. "Your victories are anomalies, Admiral," Rythak snarled, his claws curling into the table. "You've caught us off guard, exploited our complacency. But do not mistake luck for strategy. The Union's response will be overwhelming." Torin didn't flinch. If overwhelming force was the answer, this war would have ended the moment you blockaded Earth. The room fell silent. Torin stepped toward the central hologram, which now displayed Earth surrounded by an armada of Union warships. The blockade had been the first act of aggression, intended to bring humanity to its knees. Instead, it had become the first chapter of an entirely different story. When the blockade began, Union commanders expected a swift collapse of Earth's defenses. Humanity's technology was decades behind, its fleets laughably small. But instead of submission, the Union found itself grappling with a foe that refused to break. Earth's leaders didn't waste time lamenting their fate. Instead, they turned the blockade into a proving ground. Engineers worked tirelessly to repurpose satellite networks into improvised weapon systems, launching precision strikes against Union supply ships. Civilian communication systems were transformed into a planetary-wide early warning network capable of tracking every Union movement in orbit. Even the Union's advanced AI systems, thought to be unhackable, fell prey to human ingenuity. By reverse engineering captured drones, Earth's cyber specialists developed tools to infiltrate and disrupt Union systems, creating chaos among their fleets. In one particularly daring operation, a team of human operatives infiltrated a Union command ship stationed at the edge of the blockade. Disguised as salvagers, they docked their small vessel, bypassing the ship's security systems with rudimentary but effective hacking tools. What the Union saw as primitive, humans saw as opportunity. Once inside, the team planted a series of devices designed to overload the ship's navigation systems. When the devices activated, the ship's coordinates scrambled, sending it hurtling into an asteroid field. The crew barely escaped with their lives, and the loss of the command ship sent shockwaves through the Union's ranks. "Your fleets are larger, your weapons more advanced," Torin continued, addressing the chamber. "But your tactics? Predictable. Your arrogance left you blind to what humanity does best. Adapt?" The Athari delegate scoffed. "Adaptation means nothing against overwhelming power. You cannot win." "Wins." Torin's tone was sharp, almost amused. "This isn't about winning. This is about teaching you a lesson." He gestured to the holographic display, now showing the aftermath of the blockade. Union ships drifted in disarray, their formations broken. Supplies were running low, morale was plummeting, and reinforcements were nowhere to be found. "You came to Earth expecting submission," Torin said. "You found resilience. Every ship you lose, every resource we deny you, weakens your grasp on the galaxy. The longer this war continues, the more your allies begin to wonder if the Union is as invincible as it claims." The murmurs among the delegates grew louder, their once unified front showing cracks. Torin saw it, the fear, the uncertainty. Humanity had forced them to question their dominance, and that doubt was spreading. "You may have started this war," Torin said, his voice steady, "but humanity will decide how it ends." The chamber's tension thickened as Admiral Torin's words hung in the air. Delegates exchanged uneasy glances, their once unshakable confidence wavering. Rythak rose to his full height, his claws gleaming under the chamber's light. "Enough theatrics," he growled. "If humanity is so capable, then face the full might of the Union. No tricks. No sabotage. Stand and fight." Torin's expression didn't change. "You misunderstand, Rythak. Humanity doesn't fight wars on your terms. You're asking us to play your game, but we're rewriting the rules." The Athari delegate slammed her tentacled appendage onto the table. "Arrogance will be your downfall, human. The Union's fleets outnumber yours 100 to 1. Your clever schemes won't save you when we unleash our full strength." Torin folded his arms, his calm demeanor unshaken. "You're welcome to try." Union reinforcements arrived within days, their fleets blotting out the stars over Earth. Massive dreadnoughts, bristling with weapons, hovered in orbit. Thousands of fighter ships swarmed like angry bees, while planetary bombardment platforms charged their devastating cannons. The Union had never assembled such a force against a single planet. On Earth, humanity prepared for what seemed like certain annihilation. In underground bunkers, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, deploying every last innovation their desperation had fueled. Civilian volunteers joined defense forces, their resolve hardening with each passing moment. The global network hummed with activity, coordinating efforts on a scale never before achieved. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival, it was fighting to prove a point. As the first wave of Union ships descended, they encountered Earth's orbital defenses. But what they expected to be outdated satellites and crude weapons turned out to be far more formidable. Orbital platforms disguised as abandoned debris came to life, firing electromagnetic pulses that disabled Union ships. Stealth drones, cloaked from the Union's advanced sensors, weaved through enemy formations, planting charges that detonated with surgical precision. Union commanders found their communications disrupted, their carefully coordinated assault devolving into chaos. And then there were the ground-based weapons. Humanity had perfected the art of deception, hiding powerful railguns and missile batteries beneath the surface of seemingly barren landscapes. These weapons unleashed devastating volleys, striking Union ships with pinpoint accuracy. In the heart of the battle, Union dreadnoughts targeted the key nodes of Earth's defense network. Their bombardment platforms rained destruction, carving deep scars into the planet's surface. But for every installation they destroyed, two more seemed to emerge, as if Earth itself was fighting back. At the command center deep beneath the Andes Mountains, Torren stood before a massive holographic display of the battlefield. "They're committing everything they have," he observed.
Good.
"Let them overextend." "Admiral," Vega said from her station, "enemy reinforcements are regrouping. They're adapting to our tactics." "So will we," Torren replied. "Activate Phase 3. Across the battlefield, dormant systems sprang to life. Hidden in the debris of destroyed Union ships were humanity's secret weapons, AI-controlled combat drones reverse-engineered from Union technology. These drones struck with precision and speed, overwhelming the Union forces in a coordinated assault. On the Union's flagship, Rythak watched the carnage unfold, his confidence eroding with every passing moment. "This is impossible," he snarled. "They're not fighting us. They're outmaneuvering us at every turn." The Thari delegate's voice trembled. "We underestimated them. This isn't a battle, it's a demonstration." And that was exactly what Torren had planned. Humanity wasn't just defending itself. It was showing the galaxy what happened when you pushed too far.
As the battle raged on, the Galactic Union's fleets were in disarray. What had begun as a show of force had turned into a desperate struggle to regain control. On the Union's flagship, Rythak watched as the holographic display of the battlefield flickered with red indicators, each one marking the loss of a ship or squadron. "They're relentless," he muttered, his voice tinged with disbelief. "How is this possible?" Back on Earth, Admiral Torren stood in the command center, surrounded by his team. The room buzzed with activity as reports poured in from across the planet. Every screen displayed a different aspect of the battle: orbital defenses firing, drones swarming, and human forces pushing back against the invaders. "We've turned the tide," Vega said, her voice steady but cautious. "But they're regrouping. This isn't over." Torren nodded. "It's time to end this." Phase 4 of humanity's plan was the riskiest yet. As the Union forces focused their firepower on Earth's surface, they left their rear guard vulnerable. Torren had anticipated this moment and prepared a final gambit. Hidden in the asteroid belt beyond Mars, a fleet of stealth ships waited silently. Each one carried a payload of advanced EMP devices and disruption drones, designed to cripple the Union's massive dreadnoughts. At Torren's signal, the fleet activated. The stealth ships moved with precision, slipping past the Union's sensors and into position behind their lines. As the EMP devices deployed, waves of energy cascaded across the battlefield. Union ships flickered and went dark, their systems overloaded. The disruption drones swarmed the dreadnoughts, targeting their power cores and rendering them inoperable. On the flagship, chaos erupted. Rythak slammed his claws onto the control console, his voice a roar of frustration. "What are they doing? How did they?" The Athari delegate interrupted, her voice shaking. "We've lost communication with half the fleet. Their ships are shutting us down one by one." Rythak turned to his advisors, desperation in his eyes. "We need to retreat." The advisors hesitated. Retreat was unthinkable for the Union, a sign of weakness that could unravel their control over the galaxy. But the alternative was annihilation. "Order the retreat," Rythak growled, his pride swallowed by necessity. Now. As the Union ships began to pull back, Torren watched from the command center. He leaned forward, his expression unreadable as the holographic display showed the retreat in real time. Vega let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "They're falling back," she said. "We did it." Torin didn't respond immediately. He stared at the display, his mind racing. Finally, he turned to his team. "Send a transmission to their flagship." The room fell silent as the message was prepared. Torin stepped forward, his voice calm but firm as he addressed the Union's leaders. "You came to Earth expecting surrender. You leave in defeat. Let this be a lesson to you and the galaxy. Humanity doesn't bow. We fight. And if you dare return, you'll face a united force stronger than you can imagine." The transmission ended, and the room erupted in cheers. Torin allowed himself a small smile before turning back to the display. The Union ships were vanishing from Earth's orbit, retreating to the far reaches of space. Days later, the galaxy buzzed with news of the battle. The Union's invincibility had been shattered, and whispers of rebellion spread among its subjugated worlds. Humanity's defiance had inspired more than just survival, it had sparked hope. In the command center, Vega approached Torin. "Do you think they'll come back?" Torin crossed his arms, his gaze distant. "Eventually. But next time, they'll think twice. And if they don't?" Torin's lips curled into a faint smile. "Then we'll teach them again." The story of Earth's defiance would echo across the stars, a reminder that even the most powerful empires could be challenged. Humanity had rewritten the rules, and the galaxy would never be the same.